The foothills of the Rocky Mountains begin less than an hour's ride from Denver, Colorado. But with that short ride, you find yourself in a place that is still clean and relatively unspoiled by the dirt of civilization. Over the last several years, those mountains and the retreat they offer people sick of both complications and crowds have had a champion, a poet laureate, to sing their praises. His name, of course, is John Denver.
On the road of experience.
On a perfect late summer afternoon, John and I hiked and talked, first about his life, then about some issues of critical importance to all of us.
There's something about the wilderness, you know, that the Indians say that when you lose sight of the earth, that you lose sight of yourself. And I think that that's true.
When I think that I'm moving, suddenly things stand still. I'm afraid because I think they always will.
It's very interesting. Is Colorado still growing as fast as it was?
Gee, I think so, Geraldo. Denver's one of the fastest growing cities in the country, and more and more people seem to be coming. There are more people coming in the summer to go camping, to see the mountains. There are more people coming in the winter to go skiing. And people who come here, you know, golly, I've never met anybody who hasn't come here who hasn't liked it. And every time they go, they want to come back. Yeah. And each time they come back, it's harder to go.
It reminds me of a line in one of your songs, more people, more scars upon the land.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
How do you feel about that?
Well, you know, see, like a lot of people here, I think, would prefer that I didn't sing about Colorado. And yet I think that this is something to share with people, not just to, not to keep them away from. And I hope that we can do something about not destroying it in what we're doing and still keep it available.
You know, we met, I guess, in '73,
Yeah.
3 years ago, and so much has happened to both of us, and you especially in that time. How do you deal with it?
Well, you know, as things grow, hopefully where you're coming from or the security that you have about yourself, what happens around you only strengthens that and only supports that. And I think that that's what's going on. You know, a lot of things have changed. All of it has to do with the stuff of life, you know. But like, for instance, I have my own definition of success. And success is when you're doing that thing that pleases you in the world, the thing that you want to do with your life that fulfills you. And in doing so, you're able to make some contribution to the life around you. And I think that that's what you're doing, Geraldo, and you were doing that 3 years ago, weren't you?
Yeah, sure.
And that's, nothing has changed about that with me, so it's just the stuff, you know. Perhaps it's gotten bigger, there are more people involved now. In some ways, you know, like the music is kind of expanding around the world. But I'm not doing anything differently than I was before, and hopefully I feel like I'm still growing as a human being, learning about myself, learning about the life around me.
What makes you happiest?
I used to think, you know, that I was happiest when I was singing, or I was happiest doing this, and what I found out is that it's just, there are different times when I'm happy. You know, it's like I'm happy when I'm holding my little boy. I'm happy. Every once in a while I get jammed up. Last night I was reading again the stuff that I have about nuclear reactors, and it's something that is of great concern to me. And I found myself, I couldn't sleep last night, and Annie was lying beside me, and she woke up and noticed that I was awake, and we just held each other, and it all disappeared. The concern, the fear of that, and I was happy. I was happy. And I notice now that when I get jammed up about something, I realize that that's part of life. I wouldn't know what happiness and joy was if I didn't know what sorrow and pain was. And so I suddenly realize that what I am is experiencing life, and I'm happy. And it all disappears, you know, and it keeps moving that way. I think that's really far out, you know.
You deserve happiness, my
Thank
friend.
you,
You do,
Bob.
definitely. You mentioned nuclear power and last night being a sleepless one for you. That's kind of the same thing, isn't it? Kind of unchecked growth, kind of, here we have an energy need, and, you know, as society booms and grows and prospers too, and so they've developed this nuclear power, and now that they're just not realizing what it's all about.
I think that's exactly it, Geraldo. I mean, I remember when they first started talking about atom bombs. You know, that's where it started. And then they talked about atoms for peace. You know, and I thought, boy, isn't that far out? Untapped source of energy that we have for all mankind. And now what has happened is that as we've gotten into this thing, as we've grown with it and learned about it, we're finding out that it's not all that it was set up to be, that there are some problems there. And for me, in what I've learned over the past few years about nuclear power plants, nuclear reactors, and the use of nuclear energy, Geraldo, I think it's simply the most important issue that we face in the world today, what we do with this. And I don't feel that we're handling it very responsibly. And I don't think that the people know what is going on. And you know, I have an opinion. I have very strong opinions, you know, and I have the opportunity to voice those, and I try to do that responsibly, you know. I don't want to convince people that it's the way that I see it. What I want to do is perhaps open up the space for them to take a look at it themselves and make their own choices, make their own decisions.
But it really is something, you know, a person being in your position, I mean, you really do have kind of a platform to speak out on issues, and it must be an awesome responsibility for you.
Well, it is a responsibility, and I want to take advantage of that platform, and I don't want to abuse the position that I find myself in. And in regard to this, you know, my observation is that people out there aren't really reading, they aren't really looking at the issue, and so they aren't making an informed decision, an educated choice. And if I can do something about that, then I would like to do that, and that's why I'm talking with you about it today.
That's fantastic. But usually from the stage, you play music.
That's it.
And the music is so beautiful, and just could you play something with that?
Sure I will, sure I will. All but wisdom isn't underground, nor on a mountainside. Where am I to take myself? There's no place here to hide. Where can I hide? All across the universe, the stars are fading. Seems we've gotten lost on our way. All I want to do is try and find myself. Come and let me look in your eyes. Come and let me look in your eyes. Come and let me look in your eyes.
John Denver. I don't think he gets nearly enough credit from the frustrated snobs who write about music. He's really enormously talented, and he's also a very responsible person who is using his position to say some critically important things we might not want to hear if it wasn't somebody like him doing the talking. Incidentally, network standards require me to remind you that there are, of course, two sides to the nuclear power issue, and many people who think that nuclear power is the answer to our energy needs. So there you have it. When Goodnight America continues, we'll be talking about who killed John Kennedy's killer and why. That's right after this. Stay with us.